think a lot of people think it's Dina's job to get the audience. That's your job, you know? The truth is, we are all in the marketing business. You know how many actors I meet who don't even invite their families to come see the shows? They think, oh, they don't like it. They don't approve of my drama degree or whatever. You know, we are the beginning of where audiences come from. And we have to remember that whoever we meet, the janitor in the hallway, the woman at the parking deck, wherever, we've got to remember, are you coming to my show? Let me get you tickets. Okay? That's where it starts from. I think that a lot of people who are working in our industry think of the audience as something that happens. It just happens. And they don't ever think, where do audiences come from? Hey, I did my job. I learned my lines. I put on my costume. I came out. They put a light on me. I said my words. I did my job. It's time for the audience to come and do their job, which is to love me. Come love me. This whole thing is about me. You see this light shining on me? Here's me. Okay? And what we don't do, that we're going to have to do to survive in this market, is we're going to have to embrace what audiences are. It's collections of damaged people, just like us, who are looking for their lives to be better. I've got a corporate sponsor in Columbus. It's a big bank, and they're very loyal. Every year I go and sit down with the president of this bank to ask him to sponsor a show in our next season. Now, we both know he's going to say yes, but I pay my call every year, put on my suit, I sit down, and he always says the same thing. Of course, we're going to do the sponsorship. We love the Springer, and we love what you do and everything, but let's talk about what's going on. How's your family? What's going on in your life? Are you getting enough time off? How are your kids? How are your grandkids? And I talk about his family, he talks about my family, and this always comes up. Paul, I don't know if I ever told you this, but in high school, I played the trombone in the band. And whenever I come to see a Springer musical, I hear that trombone in the pit. And I sometimes think, now I know I don't have time for this. I haven't picked up a trombone in years. But I think, gosh, I'd like to be down there playing that trombone. And this is a message that I hear about the holes that are blown in his life that need filling. And it's artistic. You know, audiences, if you think things are bad attracting theater audiences, I'm just glad I'm not trying to sell symphony orchestra music right now today. It's hard. Symphonies are going out of business like crazy. A few years ago, the John S. and James L. Knight Foundation did a national study. And the study was asked one basic question: where do symphony orchestras come from? You know what they found? 76% of the subscribers to symphonies played a musical instrument as a child, or they sang in a choir or a chorus. 76%. These are people that once had music in their lives. They were music practitioners who no longer have that. And they come to symphony orchestra concerts to fill that hole in their lives. We've got to think about where audiences come from. Because if the audiences don't come, we cannot do our work. In a way, it goes back to some of the most ancient functions of theater. Theater as an expression of the church's mission. Theater as an expression of civic life to make a community fabric stronger, tighter, and more prosperous. We can't keep what we do in a silo. We are everyone's theater. And we have to be out there asking those questions. What would you like to see? When we call our subscribers every year who may not have renewed their subscription yet, the first thing we ask them is, did you like our last year's season? What did you like? And ask them to tell us first, what did they like about last year? And sometimes they will list 5 out of the 6 shows we did on the main stage as what they liked best about the season. And then you say, well, what did you not like? Well, I didn't like this show. That wasn't my cup of tea. And it gives us the opportunity to say, well, thank you for telling us that, because otherwise we wouldn't know. But am I getting this right? You liked 5 of the 6 shows? We had a pretty successful season, didn't we? Yes. Well, Mrs. Smith, we need you as a subscriber. We want you as part of our family. Come on. Let's sign you up to that. Okay? It's like audiences don't come in batches. It's like the country preacher. He saves souls one at a time. One at a time. There's not an ad that Dina can put in the paper, a magazine, radio, or anything that will make someone go, you know what? I've never gone to see a play before, but I'm going to start going because that 30-second ad is so good. No, it doesn't work like that. It's somebody saying, come to the theater with me, I'll buy the tickets. Who's going to do that? Who's going to do that? There have to be people that do that. And I hear it all the time. People say, you know, I never saw any plays until my sister made me come 9 years ago. And now I wouldn't miss a show. Advertising can be almost nothing more than a reminder that the show is going on. There's sometimes, I've got a rule of thumb in our box office I set years ago. If the show is running for 3 weeks, I need 50% of the single ticket revenue to be collected by opening night. If the show is running for 2 weeks, I need 66% of the single ticket revenue to be collected by opening night. And that's our model, and it usually works. If we're halfway there by opening night, we'll make our goal. Sometimes we're approaching opening night and we're at 11%. And it's clear that we're not going to reach our goal. And the marketing director is almost in tears. I've done everything. I've done this. I've done. We're changing things all the time. And hey, I did more TV this time and more radio. And I took out a half-page ad in the newspaper. And blah blah blah. Nothing is happening. And we're doing telemarketing and nothing. The people aren't coming. And I say, his name was Scooter McMillan. He was a student here too. A guy I met at the University of Georgia is my marketing director today. Okay? And I say, Scooter, let me tell you the story. Here's what's happening. The people know we're doing the show. They know what the show is about. They've already made the decision. They're not coming. There's nothing that you can do in marketing that will convince someone to see a play that they've heard about, they've read about, they know about it, and they've said, I ain't going. Nobody's going to say, oh, look at this half-page ad. Now that has really changed my mind. Nobody's going to do that. You know? So it's one at the time.